Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Connecting with Augusta County Schools. I'm Eric Bond, Division Superintendent, and we're glad to have you with us on another episode. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Nick Collins, who is our newly elected chairman of our school board, and we want to spend some time on this episode just talk to Mr. Collins about his thoughts and certainly his career as a school board member. So, Mr. Collins, welcome to Connecting with Augusta County Schools.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, Mr. Collins, welcome again. And I mentioned you're the newly elected school board chair, but that being said, you've also been a member of our school board going on 24 years now, which I think is probably one of the longest tenured in the state, but certainly one of the longest tenured in Augusta County as an elected school board. So we certainly appreciate your commitment to our community and serving our students over these past 24 years. I guess my first question for you is 24 years is quite a long time. There's certainly been a lot of changes and evolution of Augusta County Schools over that time frame. What are some of the most fondest memories you might have as serving on the school board during that time?
I guess if you have to look over that period of time, there's just so many things that come to mind that makes you proud to be a school board member, to be a parent of a kid in Augusta County Schools, or just to be involved with this division. Again, it's hard to single out individual things. We've seen so many successes of so many of our kids, whether they're going on to higher education at esteemed universities, whether they're taking their skills to vocations with more training or going directly into the field. Watching some of our kids move on to sports opportunities. It's just so many great things happen in this school division. And so it's just hard to single out, any one event.
Sure, absolutely. And we're certainly proud of who we are as a school division and the accomplishments we have had as a school division. So I certainly understand it's hard to single out one thing. What about challenges? Some of the challenges that you had as a school board member that we have overcome, or even maybe some of the challenges that you see in the future for the school board or opportunities?
I guess the most consistent one over the years is funding, and funding from the state and funding locally. Just trying to do the right things in terms of pay scales for our employees, also to have the programs that benefit the kids the best. And, just the cost of doing business is excessive with retirements, with medical benefits. As you know, probably 80+% of our expenditures are tied up in salaries and benefits. Trying to take care of our people has been one of our greatest challenges with what is sometimes limited funding sources.
And so that's a great point and timely as we are starting your budget process for this year. Again, as you said, about 80% of our revenues go into taking care of our people. And I can certainly say in my tenure in central office and certainly my tenure as superintendent, the school board has always made their number one priority improving our salaries and benefits for our employees. We certainly appreciate your commitment to that and the board's commitment to that over the years.
One other challenge or a period that we've been through and we're still in was dealing with standardized testing, standards of learning, and the change that brought into the system, so many uncertainties, so many different teaching methods that were then required to be successful, transitioning into all that, getting comfortable with it, and even here recently, while it's not as focal as it used to be, it still exists.
It still exists. And to your point, when we were challenged with that and our accreditation was tied to the standards of learning test, our teachers stepped up to the plate, as did our students. And we're proud to say that all of our schools are fully accredited. And so it's been an evolution, but we have certainly made some positive strides there, and we're very proud of our student outcomes for sure.
Exactly.
Switching gears just a little bit, Mr. Collins, one of the current opportunities we have and projects that we have is we're currently in the midst of building 2 middle schools, a wing at Buffalo Gap and a wing at Riverheads High School. Talk to us a little bit about your experience on the board and going through that process to see those projects to fruition.
Well, that's really the tail end of our 10-year capital plan that was developed by Dr. Bond right after he was selected as division superintendent. And it's been a great working tool for us from a planning standpoint. And as I said, we're nearing the end of that 10-year plan. And actually, pretty soon we'll start thinking about the next 10 years. That type of improvement goes back to 1996, I believe, when the first school that was renovated was Fort Defiance High School. It's just been an ongoing process. When you have as many buildings, as many structures as we have, you're constantly looking to renovate and renew, update, modernize these types of facilities. So I'm really proud that we're nearing the end of our 10-year capital plan. We've done some great things, I believe, and I'm excited to start the process to identify the pathway for the next 10 years.
I know another goal of yours has always been you want to continue to improve communication with our communities and our parents and our employees. And I know that's something that you've taken to heart. We've certainly implemented some of those things. This broadcast is one example of that. Certainly, we've improved things with broadcasting on Facebook. We have gotten established on social media platforms now to communicate with our communities and our parents. So I know that's something that means a lot to you. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, sir. That's kind of been something that I focused on a little bit in the years past. One, I just feel so many great things go on, so many success stories that, I've been the one that says we need to put that out there and to tell the public what's going on inside our schools. And I think we're doing a better job with that. But there's so many great things that go on, and I think we just need to tell people about it. And it's certainly our goal that this communication goes in both directions. And it's so important for every parent to feel that they have a lot of say-so about their child's education. The doors are open for any parent to come in, speak to a teacher, speak to a building administrator, or speak to our administrators at the central office about things that are going on in the school. But there's just so many great things that we just need to tell the world about.
I agree. We have outstanding teachers and staff members, and certainly we have outstanding students in Augusta County Schools. So the more we can promote and celebrate all the good things that we are doing, we're certainly dedicated to that. So very well said. Mr. Collins, one of the other things that I know that you're pretty passionate about and you like to promote as much as possible is our career and technical education programs. We certainly have a very robust curriculum for career and technical education, whether it be at our middle schools or our high schools and their respective curriculums. But we're also very fortunate as a region between Stanton, Waynesboro, and Augusta County to have the Shenandoah Valley Center for Advanced Learning, which houses our Valley Career and Technical Center, and those career and technical education programs that are enhanced above and beyond what we can offer at our high school level. So tell us a little bit about the career and technical education programs and kind of how it has grown in your tenure as a school board member.
It's just so exciting to see what goes on down there and the opportunities that our young people have. Not every person is geared to go to college, and many of these folks can go to this center and receive the technical training that they need. I've been excited to attend several signings where the kids are actually signing an offer or an intent to participate with a business that can acknowledge and see the benefits of bringing a student into their workforce that's been through this training. So, matter of fact, this summer I hired one of our own students, a junior, to come and work in our shop at my business. The young man was tremendous, was exceptional, and I hope his time working this summer with us gave him a better background and understanding of a real world experience, but so far gathered a lot of good knowledge and experience at the technical center. So that's a direct contribution into our local workforce, and it's just it's a tremendous program that we can offer.
It's a tremendous program with lots of opportunities, not only for our students, but also, as you mentioned, our employers in the area. Gaining that experience and those certifications and going directly into the workforce is so valuable to our economic development here in the Shenandoah Valley. And we're very, very proud of our students and those programs that we have. Again, not only at Valley Career and Technical Center, but also at our local high schools as well with some of their career and technical education programs that they have. You had mentioned the signings there at Valley Career and Technical Center. Just for our listeners, those are students that have worked there with the administration and the staff at Valley Career and Technical Center that have worked with apprenticeship programs out in our communities. And those students then go on to work directly with those companies. And to celebrate that, we typically have what we call a signing. It's very similar to what you may see with student athletes that are signing a scholarship to go play sports at the next level. We want to celebrate those career and technical education students in a very similar manner with going on to advance their career and signing actually a work contract with some of our employers in the area. So it's a neat way to celebrate those students and a neat way to celebrate, again, our workforce in our area with those signings. So speaking of signings and speaking of athletics, that's also a big piece of what we do as a public school division with a very comprehensive athletic programs at our high schools, but now also at our middle schools. You're a celebrated athlete yourself. You're in the Fort Defiance Hall of Fame, three-sport athlete, excelled mainly, I guess, in football, where you received a scholarship to play college football at VMI. And so I know athletics is a big part of your life and a big part of your passion as well. So do you want to speak about our athletic programs?
Well, that goes back many years to the middle 70s at Fort Defiance. Was blessed to have great teachers who prodded me all along, and but had some great coaches too that were instrumental in my life, served as great role models for all of my life. Today, those same people exist in all our schools. So athletics did afford me the opportunity to get my college paid for, even though you had to work for it every day, both in the classroom and on the athletic field. But it was a part of my life that I can look back with fondness, and having that opportunity goes right back to the people who were at Fort Defiance when I was a student attending.
I appreciate your time, Mr. Collins. And again, I appreciate your comments about how instruction is incredibly important in the success of our students academically, but the extracurricular and co-curricular activities that we have in our school system is equally important. Again, I've said it before on this show that research shows that our kids get involved in extracurricular and co-curricular activities. They tend to be much more successful academically, which is incredibly important. I loved your comment about being a role model as a teacher and a coach and how it had such an influence on your life. And hopefully that, as you said, is continuing on. We have great teachers and we have great coaches and we have great sponsors for our co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So kudos to all those that are working for us, and certainly appreciate everyone working so hard to be a role model for those kids, much like you had back when you are a student at Fort Defiance High School.
It takes a big family to raise a child, from a bus driver to an aide to a cafeteria person to a teacher to a coach to the folks working behind the scenes in instruction and keeping the programs going in the right direction, all the way right up to our superintendent and his senior staff. So it's just great community, Augusta County people taking care of our kids. So that's what I'm most appreciative of.
Well, thank you, Mr. Collins. I think I could speak for all of the students and staff of Augusta County Schools as well as the community. We certainly appreciate you and what you have done to help lead this division over the past 24 years. Again, the positive changes that you have helped implement in Augusta County Schools stand on their own, and we certainly appreciate your commitment to our community and your service to our community over these past 24 years, and look forward to many, many years to come. So thank you again for being on our show, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning in to another episode of Connecting with Augusta County Schools. Thanks again to all of our listeners for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updates on our latest episodes. Our episodes can always be found on Augusta County Schools Facebook page and website.